Think you're safe from a sugar overload just because you don't eat candy bars or chug soda all day? Think again. Right now, your body might be practically swimming in sugar, and the craziest part? You probably don't even realize it. Because sugar overload doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up as little things we just brush off as getting older or having a long week. You're constantly exhausted, so you blame your mattress. You're always thirsty. You blame the weather. You have crazy cravings. You think you just lack willpower. But what if I told you these aren't just quirks? They are desperate warning signs you shouldn't ignore. Because when left unchecked, that silent whisper turns into a wrecking ball, quietly damaging your pancreas, overworking your kidneys, and putting major strain on your heart. Now, take a deep breath. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to arm you. I'm Doc, and consider this a virtual house call. Just like I'd speak to my own family, I'm going to help you clearly and practically recognize what your body is trying to tell you. In this video, we're breaking down the 5 hidden signs your body already has too much sugar. And stick around, because sign number 3 is something almost everyone misses. The good news is, catching these early means you can take back control today. Let's decode those whispers. Starting with sign number 1. But first, this question. What does too much sugar actually mean? When we talk about having too much sugar, most of us picture a mountain of glazed donuts or a literal bucket of soda. But here's the cold, hard truth. The sugar that's actually wrecking your health isn't always sweet. It's a master of disguise. It's hiding in the safe foods we eat every single day. That massive bowl of white rice, that's sugar. The white bread or the rolls you grab for breakfast, sugar. And don't even get me started on the liquid desserts, the frappes, the milk teas, and the healthy fruit juices that have more sugar than a candy bar. Now, why is this a problem? Think of your body as a high-performance machine. When you dump in too much sugar, it's like pouring sand into a sports car's engine. You're literally overloading the system. First, let's look at your pancreas. This is your body's insulin factory. Its job is to process that sugar. But when you flood it with sugar every day, the factory goes into overtime. It never gets a break. Imagine a delivery driver working 24-hour shifts with no sleep. Eventually, the performance drops, the engine stalls, and the system breaks down. That's how we head toward insulin resistance. The clogged pipes, kidneys and heart, and then there's your kidneys. These are your body's filters. Constant high sugar is like pouring thick, muddy water through a fine mesh strainer, eventually clogging it. The kidneys struggle to function, increasing the risk of kidney disease. And your blood vessels? Imagine your veins and arteries as pipes constantly filled with sticky syrup. Over time, that syrup thickens and hardens the pipe lining, slowing blood flow and forcing your heart to work harder, leading to high blood pressure and heart disease. The worst part? Sugar is a silent enemy. You don't feel the damage happening until it's already done. But there are clues. The sugar crash. You feel exhausted by 2 p.m. even if you didn't do anything physical. The bottomless pit. You just ate, but you're already craving a snack. You never feel truly full. The long game. Your risk for diabetes skyrockets, which doesn't just affect your weight. It targets your eyes, your feet, and your nerves. So remember, just because it doesn't taste like dessert doesn't mean it's safe. That rice, that bread, and those processed snacks are carrying hidden sugar that is silently rewriting your health story. The question is, are you going to let it? Sign number 1, the fake fatigue. Let's talk about the most frustrating sign of all, frequent fatigue. Have you ever woken up after a solid 8 hours of sleep and then felt like you needed a nap 3 hours later? Or after a big lunch, like pasta or a burger, suddenly your brain feels wrapped in cotton. You're not just tired, you're drained. Most people blame their mattress, their stress, or their boss. But the truth? It might be the fuel, not the engine. Here is exactly what's happening inside you. When you eat something high in sugar or refined carbs, white bread, white rice, or that sugary morning latte, your blood sugar doesn't just rise. It screams upward. Think of it like a rocket ship blasting off. For about 30 minutes, you feel great, fueled by a sugar high. But what goes up must come down. That rocket doesn't land softly, it crashes. This is the roller coaster effect. When your sugar levels plummet, your body panics, making you feel shaky, moody, and exhausted. This constant spiking and crashing signals insulin resistance. insulin acts like a key for your cells to let energy in. When you continually flood your system with sugar, your cells eventually stop responding. So instead of that sugar entering your cells to give you actual energy, it just sits in your bloodstream, gumming up the works. You have fuel in your blood, but your cells are literally starving for energy. That's why you feel sluggish even if you've slept like a baby. The worst part? Your brain thinks the solution to this crash is more sugar. So you grab another snack and the cycle repeats. You're on a roller coaster that never stops, and your body is paying the price in energy debt. Here's your 1% shift. Tomorrow morning, skip the refined carbs. Swap the white toast or sugary cereal for high-protein options like eggs or healthy fats like avocado. By smoothing out that spike, you stop the crash. If you can stabilize your morning, you can reclaim your afternoon. If this video has helped you, type 1 in the comments and your city and location. We value our viewers from around the world. Sign number 2, the broken faucet, frequent thirst and urination. Let's move on to sign number 2. And this one is a master of disguise because it looks like a healthy habit. I'm talking about frequent thirst and constant bathroom trips. Most of us have been there. You're hitting your water goals with your gallon jug by your side thinking, hey, I'm just staying hydrated. But if you find yourself constantly refilling that glass and immediately looking for the nearest restroom, your body isn't just hydrated. It's in emergency flush mode. When blood sugar is chronically high, your blood becomes thick and sticky, like syrup. To fix this, your brain sends an SOS to your kidneys, saying, we have too much sugar, get it out of here. Your kidneys then filter excess glucose and dump it into your bladder, dragging large amounts of water with it. You aren't just peeing out sugar, you're peeing out the hydration your cells need. Think of your kidneys like a high-tech washing machine. They're designed for a normal load, but when you're constantly flooding them with sugar, it's like trying to wash 10 heavy blankets at once, every single day. At first, the machine copes. It spins faster, works harder, but eventually, the motor starts to smoke. This is how silent kidney stress begins. Waking up 2 or 3 times a night to go to the bathroom means you're losing sleep and your kidneys are struggling to keep up. The loss of fluid hits you with the dries, dry mouth, dry skin, and a persistent headache. If friends joke that you live in the bathroom or you can't seem to drink enough water, pay attention. Your body is signaling it's trying to dilute the syrup. The quick audit. For the next 24 hours, pay attention to the color of your urine and the frequency of your thirst. If you're drinking plenty of water, but your mouth still feels like a desert, it's not a hydration issue, it's a sugar issue. Catching this broken faucet early is the best way to protect your kidneys before that washing machine motor burns out for good. Sign number 3, the hidden warehouse, visceral belly fat. All right, let's talk about sign number 3, and this one is a total ego bruiser, belly fat. But wait, before you skip this because you think you're naturally thin, listen closely. There's a massive difference between the fat you can pinch on your arm, that's subcutaneous fat, and the fat that sugar builds. Sugar has a very specific GPS in your body. It loves to head straight for your midsection. You've heard the term beer belly, right? Well, in the modern world, it's more of a soda stomacha or a rice roll. Even if the rest of your body looks lean, if your waistline is expanding, your body is sending you a high priority alert. Why is sugar-driven belly fat so much worse? Because it's not just sitting there doing nothing. It's called visceral fat, and it's basically a silent operator living among your organs. Imagine your liver, your intestines, and your pancreas. Now, imagine wrapping them in a thick, suffocating layer of yellow grease. That is visceral fat. It's like a storage room in your belly that's been overstuffed with sugar. But here's the scary part. This fat is biologically active. It's not just storage, it's a chemical factory. It pumps out inflammatory signals and hormones that tell your brain you're still hungry and tell your cells to stop listening to insulin. It's a self-sabotaging cycle fueled entirely by that extra milk tea or that mountain of white rice. There's a scientific term for people who look slim but have high sugar diets. TOFI. It stands for thin on the outside, fat on the inside. You might look great in a t-shirt, but internally, your organs are struggling to breathe because they're encased in sugar storage. This is the hidden warehouse effect. Once that warehouse is full, the overflow goes straight to your liver. That's how you get fatty liver disease without ever touching a drop of alcohol. If your belt feels tighter, even though your scale hasn't moved much, your body is telling you it has nowhere left to put the glucose. So, how do we shut down the warehouse? You have to stop the delivery trucks, which means cutting back on refined carbs and liquid sugars that hit your bloodstream instantly. The pro tip: don't just focus on sit-ups. You can't crunch away visceral fat, you have to eat it away. Start adding fiber-rich vegetables and high-quality protein to every meal. Fiber acts like a speed bump for sugar, slowing down the delivery so your body actually has time to burn the energy instead of locking it away in the belly basement. If you notice your midsection softening, don't ignore it. It's the most visible sign of an invisible problem. Sign number 4, the system glitch, blurry vision and slow healing. Now, let's talk about a sign that usually sends people straight to the eye doctor, but it should actually send them to the kitchen. I'm talking about blurry vision. Have you ever been scrolling on your phone or reading a book and suddenly things just feel off? Like there's a thin layer of fog over your eyes that wasn't there 10 minutes ago? Most people think, oh, I'm just tired, or I need a new glasses prescription. But wait, if that blurriness comes and goes, especially after a heavy, carb-loaded meal, your eyes aren't the problem, your blood sugar is. Think of your eye like a high-end camera lens. To focus perfectly, the fluid inside the lens needs to be just right. But when your blood sugar spikes, it actually pulls water into the lens of your eye, causing it to swell and change shape. It's a literal system glitch. Your camera is trying to focus, but the lens is physically warped by the sugar. But the sugar sabotage doesn't stop at your eyes. It affects your immune system. Ever feel like you're the unlucky one who catches every cold at the office? Or a tiny paper cut stays red for 2 weeks instead of healing in 2 days? This isn't bad luck. It happens when your white blood cells, your body's frontline soldiers, are drunk on sugar. When your blood is flooded with glucose, it creates a traffic jam in your veins. Your white blood cells, meant to intercept germs, become sluggish, like security guards who just had a massive Thanksgiving dinner. They're slow and not watching the door, allowing germs to sneak in. And here's the kicker for healing. Sugar makes your blood vessels sticky and narrow. To heal a wound, your body needs to send fresh, oxygen-rich blood to the site of the injury. But if your pipes are clogged with sugar sludge, that delivery never arrives. That's why a simple scratch can turn into a lingering infection. It's why a cough that should last 3 days drags on for 3 weeks. Your body is trying to fight a war, but you've cut off its supply lines. You're essentially fighting with one hand tied behind your back because of what's on your plate. If you're noticing the blur or the never-ending cold, don't just reach for eye drops or more vitamin C. Reach for a blood sugar monitor. The quick fix. Start paying attention to the timing of your blurry vision. Does it happen an hour after that big bowl of white rice or that sugary soda? If it does, that's your body screaming for a detox. Catching this early doesn't just save your vision, it saves your entire defense system from a total collapse. Sign number 5, the dopamine trap, intense cravings. Finally, we've reached sign number 5, and this is the one that messes with your head. I'm talking about intense, unstoppable cravings. Have you ever finished a full savory meal and thought, I need something sweet or this meal didn't actually happen? Or maybe it's 3 p.m. and you feel restless, literally physically uneasy, until you get your hands on a chocolate bar or a milk tea? Most people look in the mirror and tell themselves, I'm just weak. I have no discipline. Stop right there. It's not a character flaw, it's a biochemical hijack. You aren't lacking willpower. Your brain chemistry has been held hostage by sugar. Here is the science behind the hijack. Every time you take a hit of sugar, your brain's reward center lights up like a Christmas tree, releasing a flood of dopamine. That's the feel-good hormone. It's the same chemical released when you win a prize or get a like on Instagram. It's like an instant happy button. But here's the trap. Your brain becomes efficient and stops producing dopamine naturally after getting used to sugar's massive spikes. Now, you need sugar just to feel normal. When the sugar high wears off, your dopamine levels crash into the negatives, making you feel moody and irritable without your next fix. You're not eating for hunger anymore. You're eating to stop withdrawal. Think of it like being hooked on a binge-worthy TV series. One episode ends and you have to click next episode. Sugar is a series that never ends, where one bite demands a sequel. But the more episodes you watch, the more your body stores. This is the vicious cycle. More sugar leads to more cravings, which leads to more visceral fat, which leads to insulin resistance. Over time, your happy button gets worn out. You need more and more sugar just to get the same tiny spark of joy, while your heart, liver, and kidneys are paying the price for the party in your brain. So, how do you break the cycle? You have to rewire the reward system. It takes about 3 to 5 days of reduced sugar for your dopamine receptors to start healing. The survival tip. When the craving hits, don't just fight it with no. Fight it with a swap. Grab a piece of dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa, or a handful of berries. You get a small, natural dopamine hit without the syrup effect in your blood. And drink a glass of water. Often, your brain confuses thirst signals with sugar signals. If you can bridge that 10-minute window when the craving is peaking, the happy button starts to reset. You'll find that after a week, you don't just have more energy, you finally have your freedom back. The cost of waiting. So we've seen the signs, but you might be thinking, it's just a little extra rice, or I'll start my diet next Monday. Here's why next Monday might be too late. When you leave excess sugar unchecked, you aren't just gaining weight, you're inviting a silent takeover of your vital organs. It usually starts with prediabetes. Think of this as the yellow light at a busy intersection. The light isn't red yet, you haven't crashed, but it is a screaming warning to slow down. If you ignore that yellow light and keep flooring the gas with high-sugar foods, the crash isn't just a possibility. It's an absolute mathematical certainty. Once that light turns red, you're looking at type 2 diabetes, and that's a road that is very hard to turn back from. Once diabetes sets in, the complications start hitting like falling dominoes. First, it's your eyes. High sugar damages the tiny, delicate blood vessels in your retina, leading to diabetic retinopathy, literally blurring your world forever. Then it moves to your feet. Remember those slow-healing wounds we talked about? In severe cases, those small scratches turn into deep ulcers. Because the nerves are damaged by sugar, you might not even feel the pain until it's too late, leading to the one word no one wants to hear, amputation. And we can't forget the kidneys. Remember the overloaded washing machine analogy? Once those filters burn out and you reach chronic kidney disease, your life changes in an instant. You're no longer on your own schedule. You're on a dialysis machine schedule 3 times a week just to keep your blood clean. It is a grueling, exhausting way to live that could have been prevented with a simple change in diet. I want you to think of your health like a bank account. Every time you overload on sugar, it's like taking out a high-interest loan. At first, the debt seems small. You feel a little tired, maybe a bit thirsty. No big deal, right? But sugar debt carries massive interest. As the years go by, that debt compounds into inflammation, clogged pipes in your heart, and high blood pressure. Eventually, the bank comes to collect. A heart attack or a stroke is just the body saying, the debt is too high and I can't pay it back anymore. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to show you the bill before it's overdue. The good news? You can start paying off that debt today. Step 1. If you've seen more than 2 of the signs we discussed today, go get a Simply Fasting blood sugar test. Knowledge is power. Step 2. Fix the plate. More greens, more protein, less white carbs. Step 3. Move. Even a 15-minute walk after dinner acts like a vacuum cleaner for excess sugar in your blood. It is infinitely easier to prevent a disaster than to manage a wreckage. Take care of your body now, so you can have those healthy, happy years with your family later. Because at the end of the day, no dessert tastes as good as being healthy feels. Here's your step-by-step action plan. By now, you might be looking at your pantry and thinking, do I have to throw everything away? The answer is no. You don't need to transform into a fitness influencer overnight. In fact, people who try to change everything at once usually quit by Wednesday. What we're looking for is the 1% shift. Think of your health like a massive ship. You don't need to do a 180-degree turn to avoid the iceberg. You just need to shift the rudder by 1 degree today to end up in a completely different destination a month from now. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. Step 1. Let's talk about liquid debt. If you're used to having a soda with lunch or a milk tea every afternoon, don't ban it forever. That just makes you want it more. Instead, make it an occasional treat. Every time you choose water or unsweetened tea instead, you're literally paying off your body's debt and giving your pancreas a much-needed vacation. Step 2. The half-rice hack. This is a game changer for my rice lovers out there. You don't have to give up your favorite meal. Just try the scoop rule. If you usually eat 2 scoops of white rice, try 1.5. It's like a financial budget. When you cut your sugar expenses just a little bit, you have more energy currency to spend elsewhere. You're not losing out, you're spending wiser. Step 3. Build a fiber shield. Think of fiber, like the kind in broccoli, spinach, or chia seeds, as a security gate for your bloodstream. Without fiber, sugar rushes into your blood like a stampede. With fiber, it's forced to walk in a single file line. This one change is the difference between a 2-hour PM energy crash and feeling focused all day. And here's the most underrated tip, the post-meal walk. You don't need a gym membership for this. Just 10 minutes of walking after dinner flips a literal biological switch. It tells your muscles to pull that sugar out of your blood and use it as fuel immediately, rather than letting it sit around and turn into belly fat. It's the easiest way to clean up your blood sugar in real time. Finally, if you've seen the signs we talked about today, get a blood test. Think of it like a CCTV camera for your health. It shows you the intruders before they break in. Remember, this isn't about restricting your life, it's about protecting it. Life should be sweet, but sugar shouldn't be the boss of you. It's like a relationship. Too much can be suffocating, but with the right balance, it brings joy without the damage. Start with one small step today. Maybe it's just the walk, or maybe it's the half scoop of rice. Your future self and your family will thank you for it. Remember, it's easier to prevent disease than to treat it when it's too late. Take care of your body now, and you'll have more healthy, happy years with your family. If you found this helpful, hit like and subscribe to Healthy You for more clear, practical health tips. And share this video with your loved ones, because health is better when we protect each other.